I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Moving on to page 5, we're going to start talking about time signatures, and we've already looked at the fact that there can be different number of beats per bar. So we've got 2 beats, 3 beats or 4 beats here. And the reason a composer would choose a different time signature is because naturally in music, the first beat of the bar is accented, and you can feel that even in speech. And if you think about it, if we say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 naturally has the accent. It's like a march, left, right, left, right. Number 1 is naturally accented. I don't think you would go left, right, left, right. It just doesn't fall musically. We know naturally that's what poetry builds upon. We can feel the accents in the words, and sometimes like roses are red, violets are blue, and so you hear it in conversation all the time. Just listen to people speaking and you'll feel the natural accents in the conversation. And so, for example, in 3 beats per bar we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like a pa, 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 pa. You just naturally feel that. And as the bar gets longer here, beat 1 in 4 beats per bar is accented. And then there's a sort of a lesser accent, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got a stronger accent here, and then just sort of a mini accent there, that because the bar's getting longer, it sort of falls into 2 halves, but beat 1 is always the strongest. And so this is why we are going to be choosing different time signatures in music. Now it's interesting to note that this bottom number 4 always refers to crotchet beats, and this is where perhaps the American or the rock speak sort of notation names helps, because we can see on the diagram, if you refer to my PDF, if you go to sharonbill.com, you can download that for free. You can see how a 4-beat note divides into 2 2-beat notes, which divides again into 4 1-beat notes. So we've gone from a whole to 2 halves, like a cake. It's one big whole has divided into 2 halves or 4 quarters. And so that's why the crotchet is referred to as the quarter note, because it's divided the whole into quarters. And that then makes much more sense out of this bottom number 4, 2 quarter notes or 2 crotchet beats per bar. So we're referring to quarter notes here, and that's why this bottom number is 4 is referring to crotchet beats. So this is 2 crotchet beats or whatever adds up to the same amount of time, because of course we don't want a piece of music to be made up only of crotchet beats. So it's 2 crotchet beats, not 2 crotchet notes. Whatever adds up to the same amount of value is 2 crotchet notes, but we can divide it into different note values. And so, bearing in mind what we've just discussed, let's have a look at these questions. See if you can answer them on your own, and then pop back into the video and we can check through these answers together. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. It doesn't matter if you go wrong. Always work in pencil, nice sharp pencil, and then you can erase it and learn from your mistakes. That's why we're here. And so, is it true or false that the top number tells us how many beats per bar? That's true. And if you want this in a little bit more detail, you can go to my PDFs and you can see the information here about bar lines and bars. And we can see that the top number tells us how many beats per bar, the bottom number tells us what type of beat. And so 2 crochet beats per bar or 3 crochet beats per bar. That's the number of beats per bar. And here's our quarter note or crochet beats per bar. That's our sort of denomination, as it were. So the top number does indeed tell us how many beats per bar. Does the bottom number tell us how many bars there are in each piece? Well, that's false, because how on earth could we have a piece of music with only 4 bars ever occurring? So that's funny. Is it true that 3/4 tells us that there are 3 crochet beats in a bar? Well, that is true, because the top number is 3, for example, in this case, and the bottom number is 4, so 3 crochet beats per bar. There's our top number, the beats per bar, what type of beat, so that's correct. Is it true that the time signature is written at the end of a piece of music? Well, actually, no, that's not true. It's always written at the beginning of a piece of music. Otherwise, we won't know what we're counting in. You can see here, it's always written at the start. It's not written at the end. So that's false. We need to know what we're counting in before we start playing. Is it true that the bottom number 4 tells us to count in crochet beats? It does. There's our quarter note, crochet beats, and so that's correct. There we go. And then interestingly, there's a little extra here. We sometimes refer to 4/4 as common time, and it's this kind of capital C with a blob. Now, when you're drawing that yourself, don't worry about making all these little italicized lines. Here we've just got the humble pencil to use, not fonts with italics on. So you just sort of do a blob and then a C. That'll sort of cover it really. And that just means 4 beats per bar. And so you could try clapping some exercises just to get used to counting. And so we'll turn over the page in a moment. And there's a technique that you learn as a musician, and you sort of learn to tap your toe in your shoe ever so subtly. You don't want to be stomping and clonking the floor, but you just sort of, there's your pulse, there's your beats per bar, and you divide the note values between that. It takes a little bit of practice. However, you know, practice makes perfect. So let's turn the page over now. And we can see that we're going to be completing some time signatures for these rhythms. And so we've got to find out how many crochet beats each of these adds up to. We're always counting in crochet beats. And so we know that this is a minim, which divides into 2 crochets. So there's 2 beats and there's another one. So that adds up to 3. Let's double check that. And this is the easiest bar to tell. 1, 2, 3 crochet beats, quite literally. We have the same values here, 1, and then that divides into 2 crochet beats. So really just 1 bar will give you the answer, but it's worthwhile to just double check it. So 1 and that gives us 1 beat, half half. We say 1 and to sort of fill in the extra half. And there's 2, 3. So really we've got that thoroughly sorted 3 beats per bar. Now the next one, this last bar gives us the answer straight away. We can see that there are 4 beats in a semibreve, so that's that one sorted. And you can double check it. 2 plus 2, 2 minims. 1 plus 1 plus 2. 2 plus 1 plus 1, but that last bar, because every bar's got to be the same value, and that last bar gives us it quickly straight away, so 4 beats per bar. Again, this last bar gives us the answer nice and easy, 2 beats per bar. We can double check it. 1, 2, half plus half makes 1, plus 1 is 2, half plus half is 1, half plus half is 1, there's 1, half plus half is 1, so you can see 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, same again here, 1, 2, 2 over 4. And now let's look at this one again. The last bar gives us the clue straight away, so you can just go ahead and say a semibreve is worth 4 beats per bar. However, by all means, go through and just double check your maths. It's not harmful to do extra work, is it? The more thoroughly you learn it, the better it will be. So 1, add 1, 2 halves gives us 1 plus 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 halves is 1, there's 1, 2 halves, 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now a 2-beat note, because a minim divides into 2 crotchets, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. There we go. And again, if you want to practice counting these rhythms, you're always going to be tapping, counting to 2, 1, 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2, 1, 2. We say 1, it's just a way of filling in the half, 1 and. You could say 1, half, 2, half. It's just a bit of a mouthful. So with the musical practice is to say 1 and, just to fill in that half beat. And so now we move on to exercise 7, where we've been given the time signature. We know how many beats there should be, but there are going to be some beats missing. And so we've got to fill in the gap with an appropriate note to make the bar complete. So we should have 2 beats in a bar. There's 1 beat here, and therefore we are 1 beat missing because 2 minus 1 is 1. And so a note which is 1 beat, which you know right back from, if I just find the page, right back from page 2, remember your crotchet is 1 beat. Or of course you can just glance at your PDF. Go to sharonbill.com, you can find your free PDF and you can see your note values there. So we want a crotchet beat there. This bar's complete. We've got 1 beat here, there should be 2 with this first beat missing, so another crotchet beat will do that. That's that complete. Now in this next exercise, there should be 3 beats per bar. We've got beats 2 and 3 covered here, but we're the first beat missing. 2 taken from 3 leaves us 1. We need this 1 beat filling in. It's just the reverse of this bar really, isn't it? We've got 1 beat here, we've got 1 beat here, so that gives us 2 beats in total with just this middle beat with 1 beat missing, and so we need another crotchet there. Now we're only adding 1 note at a time, and so we are 2 beats missing here. It just wants 1 note to fill in these missing 2 beats. We've got 1, we need another 2 to make the 3 beats per bar, and so we know that our 2 beat note is a minim, because that will last beats 2 and 3 to get us to the end of that bar. So pressing on, let's do exercise C. So this bar is complete. This bar here, we've got 2 beats. We've got 1 beat, so 2 plus 1 is 3, because this note here takes up all of beat 1 and into beat 2. We've got 3 beats, there should be 4, so we're just 1 beat missing, and we know a 1 beat note is a crotchet beat. Now here we've got a 1 beat and a 1 beat, so that gives us 2 beats. We should have 4 with 2 beats missing. We should only have 1 note to fill the gap, and we know that a 2 beat note is a minim, and that will then fill beats 3 and 4. Our final bar has nothing in it. We can only add 1 note, and so the only note that can fill that in one go, 4 beats long, is our semibreve, which fills beats 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally, we have, we should have 4 beats. There's a 2 beat note here, So we are 2 beats missing. So the final 2 beats, beats 3 and 4, will need to be another 2 beat note because 2 plus 2 is 4. In this bar here, we've got 1, 2, 3 beats. There should be 4 with just this first beat missing, so we need another crotchet, a 1 beat note. And then finally here, it should be 4 beats. And so the only note that will fill that in one go is our semibreve, which gives us beat 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's that exercise completed. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.